As a nation, we spend over £60 billion a year on day trips.
You can do anything you want to on a day trip.
Going out on a boat, maybe taking a bike out.
You can go into town and have a look at some museums.
It's just a one-off moment of fun.
For some, it's a chance to get out and enjoy a day with loved ones.
You can bond with your family members, you get some good food, you get some good pictures.
Whether it's a trip to the zoo...
You can see the lions over there, the chimpanzees over there.
Everybody loves the zoo.
or something a bit more adventurous.
You can do base jumping all over the world. I love it.
When it goes right, it can be the stuff of dreams.
The sun's shining, you're getting soaked in salt water, and it's absolutely fantastic.
And just thought, haven't we found the best place on earth?
Everything's gone to plan, dream day, top dad points.
What more do you want?
But when it goes horribly wrong, it can be disastrous.
I've just broken a number of different parts of my spine.
There is no way this guy's surviving this.
We've got first-hand interviews with people.
This is it. She's gonna get me.
I had no idea of how close I really was to dying.
Come on, me woman car! Whose days out were doomed.
This is an absolute beautiful day, and I'm gonna fall to my death here.
Okay?
Oh, no, no.
This is when day trips go horribly wrong. Exciting days out aren't just limited to when we're at home, as many of us enjoy a day trip while on holiday.
Day trips can be fun, but if you go away on holiday, it's planned for you.
You could get a boat trip, you could go paragliding, you could just do an activity that you've never tried before.
And big fans of the holiday day trip are Florida residents Chris Gursky and his wife, Gail.
I love to travel. Me and my wife love to take trips across the globe, seeing new sights. There's a lot of beautiful places out there. We pick one thing out for like a day excursion, something different, something special, something out of the ordinary that we normally don't do.
With a desire to broaden their European experiences, Chris and Gail booked a trip to picturesque Switzerland.
Switzerland was on our bucket list. Everything we saw about Switzerland looked absolutely beautiful.
Switzerland is absolutely stunning. The scenery will take your breath away. You've got the mountains, you've got that beautiful fresh air.
The whole place looks like a postcard.
With their Swiss trip all booked, Chris and Gail were determined to mark it with a day trip to remember.
On this trip, we decided that we were going to go hang gliding.
Hang gliding is an experience where you get onto a frame, under a wing, and you fly.
It's a chance to be a bird, isn't it? To feel like you're floating, you're taking all these incredible views. It's actually quite peaceful.
We were picked up from our hotel to go on the hang gliding excursion, and it was quite a long drive up the mountain, and there was a lot of jokes being cracked about passing a graveyard, and this is where our former customers are. Once we got up to the top, that day couldn't have been more perfect. You could see for miles through the mountains. It was a fabulous view.
After a safety briefing from the expert instructor, Chris was nearly ready to take to the sky.
They put the safety harnesses on us. We got underneath the glider, and he instructed me to get right next to him, and we walked together side by side, and we stood there for a while waiting for the wind to come up the hill.
It's vital that you're with somebody who is an expert and they really know what they're doing, they're going to look after you, and that every single safety measure is in place.
If you're paying for a professional, you entrust yourself to them.
You think everything's okay, I'm in safe hands, nothing bad's gonna happen.
I was instructed we run side by side until our feet leave the ground.
3, 2, 1, go. Run, 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 run.
I expected to kind of level off a little bit, but then pretty quickly after that, I realized that I really wasn't hooked up to the hang glider.
The instructor ensured that he was harnessed to the glider but didn't ensure that Chris was.
My first thought was, did I do something wrong? But I just kind of realized that it's just me hanging on.
Imagine having to hang on for dear life.
This is an absolute beautiful day, and I'm gonna fall to my death here. The pilot was having issues controlling the glider. I was kind of pulling him sideways. I looked down and I kind of envisioned myself falling through the air, flailing my arms and legs, just falling.
I've never been so gripped ever as I was watching this.
There's no safety harness. You're on your own.
I knew the consequences. If I didn't stay calm, I probably would have used more energy than I had.
I don't think I would have had the strength to hold on.
I'm not a big gym guy or anything. I work out a little bit, but nothing crazy. I think it was probably adrenaline and just, sheer will just to hang on.
That guy is hanging on with one hand.
My heart was in my mouth. I felt physically sick.
And I'm holding on just to the fabric of his pant leg, just grabbed on with everything I had.
If you don't hold on, this is it.
And we were coming up to the ground. I couldn't wait for it to come any quicker. We were going probably about 45 miles an hour. My hand was starting to open, and I didn't have much left in me at all. I didn't let go until my feet actually scraped the ground, so it was like getting thrown out of a car.
How Chris managed to hang on for the entirety of that flight until the instructor could get him on the ground is beyond me. It showed massive strength and will to survive.
That was the closest to death I've ever come in my entire life.
Chris had suffered a broken wrist, but incredibly was unharmed otherwise. But when he went to review the footage of his flight, he was in for a shock.
That was my GoPro that I attached to the hand glider. Somehow, before I got my camera back, the footage was erased off my camera. There was a business owner that was trying to save his livelihood. He told us to our faces that he deleted the footage, and we just kind of looked at each other like, are you kidding me?
When you have an incident like this, negligence comes into play, and sometimes this can lead to a criminal investigation. If any evidence is destroyed, that might become a criminal matter.
Chris was determined to recover his footage, so sought specialist help.
There was a company I found that can undelete things. I sent it off to them, and they were able to pull the video back on.
While he might have taken legal action, Chris was just happy to walk away alive and with his expenses covered.
They never charged us for the flight, I'll tell you that, but the hospital bill, everything, the pilot took care of all that. I'm very grateful that I managed to live and I'm able to tell the tale.
But has Chris's day trip from hell put him off enjoying thrills and spills on holiday?
It really hasn't put me off of trying anything new or exciting. We love doing something adventurous. And when we do a day trip, it's got to be something cool. So it's not going to slow me down.
Getting out in nature is the perfect way to spend a day trip. Fresh air, exercise, and beautiful scenery.
Seeing some kind of mountains or wildlife.
Going caving or hill walking.
There's so many different days out to choose from.
And in the United States, the options are even greater, particularly in the mountainous state of Utah.
If you want absolute raw, primeval landscapes, there is nowhere like Utah.
You've got this incredible mountain scenery, canyons. It's a stunning place to go.
It's just you and nature. It's wonderful.
And for construction worker Kyle Burgess, who calls Utah home, it's the perfect place to indulge in his favorite pastime, running.
My ideal day trip would be to go out for a run for a whole day and just enjoying the nature as well as, pushing myself. The view is spectacular. It's awesome.
On one such trip, Kyle had planned a run at one of his favorite spots.
I told my wife that I was going to be gone for about 4 or 5 hours, and I planned to do this loop that was gonna be probably about 10 miles. Just taking my phone so I can take pictures of the trail. I see wildlife all the time. I've seen deer, I've seen elk. Generally what will happen is the wildlife will see you and they run away.
But on this occasion, as Kyle was nearing the end of his run, he thought he'd spotted something really special.
I'm about 2 miles away from the trailhead, about 5 miles away from my car. Wow. And I saw what I thought were baby bobcats. So I pulled my phone out thinking, cool, I'll get some pictures of these baby bobcats.
No!
I then realized it was a completely different situation. These were no baby bobcats, they were baby cougars. And Mama was right there. And she didn't like me close to her babies. She actually went around to the left of me. And it's almost like she was trying to flank me. And she makes the loudest meowing cat sound that I've ever heard in my life. Just a loud purr meow. The first thing that went through my head was just, oh crap. I was now in a very dangerous situation.
Go! Go!
Mountain lions, particularly females who have young, are incredibly dangerous.
He was very much in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Go away! I'm big and scary. Go away!
The cougar then started stalking Kyle, forcing him to back up into the canyon.
Growing up here in Utah, I was in the Boy Scouts, and we're taught to act big and scary when we come in close encounters with a predator.
Go away! Go away!
And so my initial instinct was to yell and to try to be bigger than her so that she thought that I was a scary person.
You're a good little kitty cat. Nice and slow. Come on. Ah!
So I just told myself, don't ever look away from her, just keep backing up into the canyon.
Oh, holy. What's up, dude?
Cannot even begin to imagine how terrifying it would be.
Nice and slow. Come on.
Kyle did exactly the right thing. He never turned his back because that would just play to the animal's predatory instincts.
Ah!
I'm not a very big person, I'm only 150 pounds, and so for her to jump on me and take me out would have been really easy.
Go away! No!
There was actually one point where I'd stumble on a rock.
No!
And that's when she took that first pounce. And I was like, this is it. She's gonna get me.
That was scary.
She was so close to me. When she hit the ground, was coming up. I can almost taste that dirt in my mouth.
Ah. No! Come on, dude. I don't feel like dying today.
Some of those pounces, she got within 5 feet of me.
Dude! What do you want me to do?
It was terrifying watching that footage. It just went on for so long.
It must have felt like it was never going to end.
That mountain lion did not want to give up.
After retreating for 6 terrifying minutes, Kyle was eventually able to grab a rock
Yeah, get away.
and throw it in the direction of the cougar.
Oh, damn it. Okay.
When she ran away, I was so relieved.
Yeah, so that just happened. Wow. You see that? Oh, I'm somewhat calm, actually.
We hear about predator attacks and we hear about these crazy situations that other people get into.
No.
And so the fact that I wasn't lunch for this cougar,
no,
it's sometimes unfathomable for me to even believe.
Holy cow.
With 2 miles left to the end of the trail and in total shock, Kyle was unsure of what to do next.
I waited for a little bit. I actually called my father-in-law. He's a hunter. And I was like, should I stay here? Like, I don't want to go back the other way.
Oh, boy.
Kyle was advised to let some time pass before continuing his journey back home to Whitney, his now worried wife.
I was at work and received a call from my dad asking me where Kyle was on a hike, which was a clue that something was not right. And he let me know that he had an encounter with a cougar.
No.
Which terrified me.
No.
The walk back down was definitely scary. I was able to pick up a rock and a stick in my hand and I walk down very cautiously, making noises, hitting tree branches, allowing the cougar to hopefully, hey, get away, I'm coming down. Please don't get me.
Kyle had a lucky escape, but his brush with nature hasn't put him off his favorite day trip.
So that was definitely a scary day trip, but it didn't scare me from getting back out. The next day, I actually went back out to that same trail and walked the same area that the cougar chased me.
Now, Kyle and Whitney have a cub of their own.
Our son Zeke loves the outdoors, just like his dad. Kyle takes him on hikes with his backpack, and I did tell him, you know, I would like you to be a little bit more prepared. If you could bring some kind of pepper spray, bear spray, anything.
As a new father, Kyle has had time to reflect on his experience.
Oh yeah, she just did not want me close to those babies. I'm not mad at her for doing that. The mama cougar was just doing what she had to do.
If you like a walk on the wild side, you can't go wrong with a day trip to one of the finest safari parks.
It's a really lovely family day out for animal lovers and nature lovers alike.
Unrestricted by enclosures, majestic animals roam around freely, providing a truly wild experience.
Those sort of drive-through safaris are kind of cool, but they're kind of scary because anything can happen.
For Annie Andrews and her partner Vinny, there was a very special reason to go on a safari park day trip along with 4-year-old son Harry and his younger brother Callum.
It's actually Littleton's first birthday, so we wanted to make it memorable, to look back and say, this is what we did for your first birthday. We took you to the safari park on a day out.
There was huge excitement, as the destination for their celebratory day trip was to be a surprise for the kids.
As soon as we got in the car, it was, are we there yet, Mum, are we there yet?
The trusty family car took them to a nearby safari park that's home to some 750 wild animals.
Turned up at the safari park, massive picture of a rhino. Harry starts getting all excited because he's finally realised where he's at.
It's a really exciting moment for a young child who's seen animals just as something in picture books to all of a sudden see them the other side of the glass in their cosy little car.
We goes into the lions, didn't we? And Callum's all excited. Roar! Weren't he? Roar! The lions crossing.
Everything's gone to plan. Dream day. Top dad points.
The day was a huge success.
Travelling down, gets to the last part where the camels are, slowed right down to a stop so the kids could get a proper look.
Harry gets so excited.
What are they doing? Next thing, one camel decides to attack the other.
And Harry's like, Dad, they're fighting. He's like, are the doors locked, Mum? Are the doors locked?
It's a really scary situation if you've got a couple of animals fighting right in front of you.
These huge beasts can be nearly 6 foot tall to their shoulders, almost 12 feet long, and can move at speeds up to 65 kilometres per hour.
I had the car in reverse, I beat the horn. The horn wasn't for the animals, it was for the guy behind us. Move your car!
The driver behind is blocking them, so they can't even reverse.
Just one of these creatures can weigh 75 stone, but here there were 2.
And then the inevitable happened.
The bottom one collapsed against the bonnet and literally all we heard was crunch.
You think this is like a scene of a movie and it's actually happening in my life right now.
But this was real, and the damage to their car confirmed it.
Our car was only worth £2,500. They said it'll either cost you £6,800 for a new engine, oil pipe, cam belt, or you scrap it.
But things got even worse. In all safari parks, terms and conditions stipulate that they are not liable for damage caused by their wild inhabitants. And neither would their personal insurance payout. Their car was a write-off.
I know most people think, what is the chance of a camel coming towards me in a safari park? It can happen and it has happened.
What a way to end our day trip. Camel on me blooming car.
For this to have happened, she must have really had the hump.
But if you thought that was a close shave, meet a day tripper whose visit to a safari park took horribly wrong to a whole new level. Robin de Graaf couldn't wait to revisit a safari park in his native Netherlands that held a special place in his heart.
I went to the safari park a lot when I was a kid. I really liked it.
With fond memories of being driven around the spectacular park by his parents, now an adult and having passed his driving test, he had a big plan.
The first thing I actually wanted to do was drive through the park with my new car, because it was kind of a dream to do that on my own.
Taking Mum and Dad along for the ride, Robin set off on his dream day trip.
It was actually pretty amazing. I always liked animals, especially wild cats.
And so, from the safety of his car, Robin tracked down the wildest of them all, the cheetahs, and was poised with his phone to capture the majestic beauty of the animals when something else caught his eye.
I was really flabbergasted. The people in the car appeared to be a family, and one by one they were stepping out.
Oh, dit wordt spannend, dit wordt spannend. Oh my god!
Oh my god.
Dat is echt erg, dat is echt erg. Oh my god, dat beest is helemaal agitated, man. Oh my god.
I couldn't believe my eyes.
Number one rule of visiting any safari park is do not open your windows and do not, under any circumstances, get out of the vehicle.
Stay in your car.
Zo, dat beest. Oh ja. Dit is...
The animals within a safari park are apex predators and are very likely to do you a severe amount of harm.
Jezus, oh my god. Kijk dat beest. Nee, dit is eng.
When the little kid stepped out of the car, things got very scary at that point.
These aren't little bunny rabbits that you can go and stroke and pet. These are wild animals.
I have absolutely no idea what they were doing. I think they might have thought that these were tamed animals or that they were sedated.
One of the cats was very much alert, eyes trained on the family nonchalantly going about their business.
Het gewoon in de jachthouding.
There was this kid, like 70 years old, and he was busy on his phone with his back towards these predators.
I would have driven right alongside that family and said, get in the car. Those cheetahs are probably going to kill you.
People ask me why I didn't honk the horn. I did not want to activate a response from these animals.
Mercifully, on this occasion, a major disaster was averted. They'd had a lucky escape. In the wild, hungry cheetahs can reach speeds of up to 130 kilometers per hour to secure a meal.
Nee. Jezus. Oh god, ze worden beslopen.
You can't comprehend that when some people are so lucky that they would do the exact same thing 2 minutes later. It just happened so fast, and there was a cheetah passing right from my car. There was a cheetah shooting in front of the car from the left.
Oh no, nee. Nee, niet zo hard. Jezus. Oh my god. Kind, nee!
I was driving towards the family, but the animals were already there before I could even hit the gas panel.
Van de wereld. Jezus. Dit heb ik nog nooit meegemaakt. Dan spoor je niet. Nee.
Why on earth would you get out of your car with a young child in front of a pack of cheetahs and pretty much have a picnic?
They're fast. They can wipe you out in a second.
Over there. In die auto, mensen, kom op!
It was a very explosive situation. The cheetah was very agitated. You could see the back standing up. They were very territorial.
When they turned their back on the cheetah, it appealed to the cheetah's predatory sense.
Jesus.
I was on the edge of my seat, of course.
They could have been ripped to shreds.
The extraordinarily lucky family set off into the horizon, thankfully unscathed.
It was an event that I think it will haunt me for the rest of my life, to see something like that so close.
Thanks to Robin's extraordinary footage, this horrifying incident made alarming headlines right round the world. There wasn't a single country on the planet that didn't know about it, and the footage has so far had almost 12 million views online. A day trip to a safari park should be memorable, but not for all the wrong reasons.
What's the first rule of Safari Park Club? Stay in the car. What's the second rule of Safari Park Club? You stay in the car!
Day trips can be an exciting part of a foreign holiday. They're an opportunity to experience the sights and sounds of another country whilst also having a great time. One person who was determined to have a day trip to remember while on holiday with his girlfriend was Dan White.
My name's Dan. I'm a truck mechanic. I really enjoy bodybuilding and scuba diving. A couple of years ago, me and my girlfriend, we decided to go out to the Red Sea in Egypt. It's just an absolute haven for scuba divers.
The Red Sea is beautiful.
I don't know anywhere better in the world for diving, snorkeling.
From the marine life, to the fish, to the beautiful coral.
It's just a joy.
And being underwater with nature is something that makes Dan feel on top of the world.
The only way I can describe it is like you're flying. It's complete weightlessness, and you're just moving around at your own leisure, taking in everything you can see. It's amazing.
As well as basking in the spectacular marine life, Dan and his girlfriend took some time to improve on their diving skills.
We decided we were going to complete one of the parts of an advanced course, which was a deep dive course.
And Dan was hoping the day trip would be a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Me and my girlfriend, we decided to go out and see if we could dive with some hammerhead sharks. It got the adrenaline pumping and the excitement going, knowing that you're going to see one of Mother Nature's top predators. I spotted an oceanic white-tip swimming around the boat.
Dan recognised the white tips on the fins which give the shark its name. Considered one of the more dangerous breeds, they've been blamed for many fatal attacks on humans. However, this one appeared to be happy and relaxed around the divers.
So I decided to get the GoPro out and start filming it. Not seen one up that close before, so it was really nice just to have a look and see what it was all about. It was swimming around like the circumference of the boat, maybe within 20 metres of us. It didn't really come too close. Its fins were up and it was nice and relaxed. It was as calm as we were in the water, and there was nothing really going on. It was just enjoying its day.
Sharks generally are very safe. They're generally not interested in approaching or being near humans.
I carried on filming while my girlfriend was doing the exercise, and I realised that the bubbles from the other couple were going up underneath the shark. Some of the bubbles hit the shark's belly and the shark flinched, and then its fins were brought down and its behaviour had completely changed. The male from the couple was getting really close contact with the shark. The shark was butting its head up against the camera that the guy was holding, and he was having to fend it off with his fins and actually hit the shark's nose with the camera lens to get it away.
You can never predict the behaviour of an apex predator.
I don't know what I would do.
There is always an element of risk if you are diving or swimming somewhere where there are sharks.
I was kind of thinking, well, if it's going to attack him, it's potentially going to attack somebody else. My girlfriend was a bit agitated, and I could see she was getting flustered and her breathing was changing, so trying to calm her down, keep her relaxed so she didn't go through her air so quickly. After that guy fended the shark off, another group of divers came around the reef.
But this new group of divers weren't so lucky.
The first thing that went through my head was, oh my God, is this guy gonna die? I looked at my girlfriend, she looked at me in absolute shock and horror. I could hear her screaming through her respirator. I was just like, this guy's gone for. Like, he is absolutely done. There is no way this guy's surviving this.
Dan had to think fast if he was going to get himself and his girlfriend to safety.
It was 100% fight or flight. It was, you're either going to get out of this situation or you were going to like die trying. I was absolutely bricking it. We were like, we need help. And everybody from the main boats grabbed the rib boats, drove over straight away and just started hauling everybody out the water as quick as possible.
Once the couple was safely back on the boat, Dan's thoughts turned to the diver who had just been savaged by the shark.
One of the guys on our day trip happened to be an ex-Marine medic, so he was asked to go over to the other diver's boat to stem the bleeding. He explained to us that the guy had lost his entire calf muscle and there was a lot of tissue damage. It was a mess of his leg.
But at least he lived to tell the tale.
The guy definitely had a lucky escape. I mean, it could have been so much worse.
That evening, Dan took some time to look back at the incredible encounter with nature, which he'd caught on camera.
When we first reviewed the footage, we were just all in shock. We were like, did that actually just happen?
When the footage was uploaded to YouTube, it went viral, with over 1.5 million views. So it wasn't long before the story hit the headlines.
After the holiday, I was quite anxious to find out if the diver was okay. I reached out on social media. A friend of his got back to me and said he's doing okay, he's had a skin graft to his leg and some corrective surgery, and that he was all well and on the mend.
They say sharks get bad press, don't they? I think they kind of deserve it after Jaws.
After their close call, there was a serious conversation Dan had to have with his girlfriend.
We were like, do we want to continue diving, on the rest of this trip? And we came to the conclusion you need to jump back on the horse straight away, otherwise you'll be forever scared of it. I still have an absolute love and passion for scuba diving. I probably always will.
Day trips are the perfect opportunity for families to spend time together. And what better place to go to see a slice of exotic wildlife than the local zoo?
It's just great to see animals close up and personal, isn't it?
It's a great day out.
And it's something that all ages can enjoy, whether there's grandparents, parents and children.
And one mother decided that the perfect day trip for her family would be to spend some time together at Belfast Zoo.
I'm Chantal and this is my daughter Emily.
Hello.
As a family, we love days out and our favourite day out is the zoo.
My favourite animal all in me are cats because they're really tiny and cute.
We visited Belfast Zoo in February of 2019. Weather was beautiful. We'd had a lovely picnic. We'd had an ice cream at the top of the hill and had just started to make our way back down.
And Chantal and her family weren't the only ones coming to the end of a wonderful family day trip. Dean McFall was also at Belfast Zoo that day.
The sun was out, everybody was happy, the zoo was very busy. The kids kept cracking up because they did want to go and see the monkeys.
But when Dean got to the enclosure, he knew straight away that something was wrong.
I actually couldn't believe it. There was no chimpanzees there. They were all in the enclosure up at the top of the hill. And as soon as we were about to leave, this one big chimpanzee started walking down the enclosure. And the one chimpanzee picked up a plank of wood in the shape of a Y and walked to the other side of the enclosure and put it up against the wall and climbed up the plank of wood and jumped over.
They've been planning this for months, maybe years. This was their moment.
It's like a mix of Planet of the Apes and Shawshank Redemption.
My initial reaction was to grab the kids and run. At that point, Emily's daddy had kind of wandered off behind the gorilla to get closer pictures.
Come on now, darling.
She was quite frightened.
I was really, really scared because I saw him getting eaten by them.
Then we went to try and get one of the zookeepers.
With the chimps making their bid for freedom, quick-thinking Dean knew that he had to get his nieces out of harm's way.
We had to walk around down by the monkeys where he jumped over. He got my two nieces. That was the way out of the zoo, and we obviously had to get the kids.
Chantal and her family were also attempting to escape the danger.
When the chimp first appeared from the bush, we were really only a few feet in front of it. It was quite frightening. I didn't really know what to do. There was no staff present, there was nobody about. I could still hear other families and other kids, so there was still plenty of people within the zoo grounds.
Unable to find any zoo staff, Chantal reached for her phone to raise the alarm.
They answered the telephone. I had just said to them, you know, I'm in the zoo, the chimps have escaped. Initially, I think they thought it was a joke.
I mean, hello?
Maybe took us about 20 minutes to find a zookeeper, and don't think that she actually believed us. Maybe 5 minutes later, somebody radioed her through and said there's chimpanzees escaped, and then she started shouting at us, run down that way, and don't look back.
All became quite chaotic and everybody started to rush out.
I would be absolutely petrified. I mean, that is really scary.
Dean and his family, along with the other zoo visitors, did what they were told and headed for the exit. But the ordeal wasn't over yet. With the chimpanzees blocking the path, Dean had to keep his family calm if he was going to prevent a disaster.
If I didn't keep my calm the way I did, the situation would have been a whole lot different.
Dean, you're a hero, mate. Well done.
Both families made it to safety, but knew things could have been a whole lot worse.
I guess we did have a very lucky escape. I mean, it could have been bad. I had 3 small kids with me, 1 swipe, and things could have been a very different story today.
Chantel had caught the chimps' bid for freedom on camera and quickly put it on her social media.
We just uploaded it to our Facebook page and it was shared by everybody.
Dean also uploaded his footage of the escape and was soon inundated by the press.
My phone never stopped. I mean, within 5 minutes, RTV News, BBC News, ITV, everybody is contacting me to do interviews.
Emily felt very famous at the time, didn't you?
So it wasn't long before the absconding primates made front-page news. After the incident, Belfast Zoo said it was a highly unusual event. We would like to reassure the public that Belfast Zoo is fully committed to providing a safe and enjoyable experience for all our visitors. Zookeepers were present as the chimpanzee quickly returned from an adjacent wall to the rest of the group inside the enclosure. But for the 2 families, it was one trip to the zoo that they wouldn't forget in a hurry.
We are very, very lucky because a chimpanzee has 7 times the strength as a human being, and they could have broke our arm like a twig.
We definitely got more than we bargained for that day.
Day trips are the perfect way to take a break from everyday life.
You could go to the beach,
A spa and relax and have a massage.
the list is endless.
But for thrill seeker Chad Smith, a day trip means something a little more extreme.
Base jumping is jumping off of a fixed object with a parachute. The way I got into base jumping was by doing a tandem skydive when I was 14 years old in Australia. I then spent the next few years watching base jumping videos online and then got hooked on the idea of that. I ended up doing about 2,000 skydives before doing my first base jump off of a bridge in France.
Brave, as far as I'm concerned. In other words, they're cray-cray.
I think they're absolute lunatics, if I'm honest.
I love it.
With over 230 base jumps under his belt, Chad and his friends had a special day trip planned to the coast.
We'd planned this day trip for a few days in advance because we knew the weather was good down at Dover. I got up early, packed both of my parachutes, and then made my way down for a day out of base jumping.
When I think of the White Cliffs of Dover, I think of nice calm walks. I don't think of running off the edge of cliffs and hoping for the best.
We wanted to get straight into jumping because the winds were so perfect. We headed straight to our intended exit point and started to assess if that was a good place to jump. First jump we were doing for the day was 250 feet. It sounds plenty hard to me, but it doesn't to most people.
Have a good one, dude.
See ya. Watching that where you have to jump off a cliff, I'm like, why?
The landing was quite rocky, big boulders and things like that, so we had to land in a very specific place and just be very careful with that. My other 2 friends then jumped after me.
Yeah!
We were all quite happy with that.
Following their successful first jump, Chad and his friends decided to increase the stakes by attempting a cliff that had never been jumped before, with a short drop of only 180 feet.
My friends were watching and also filming the exit.
See you later, guys.
Base jumping is a sport where there is almost zero margin for error.
With Chad's chute failing to open quickly enough, he was now seriously injured on the rocks beneath the cliff.
Don't really remember hitting the ground. I remember falling and then sort of waking up after rolling down the cliff a little bit. I think I was in shock. I wasn't quite sure what happens. I was really confused.
Oh, no.
I was looking at my friends to try and tell them I was okay, but I don't think I could speak at first because I was really badly winded.
It was harrowing to watch.
You okay? No, he's not.
Not knowing the extent of his injuries, Chad's friends were now in a race against time to get down to him. But luckily for Chad, a passerby on the beach came to his aid.
Please don't try and move yourself now. You're not jumping. Oh, fuck.
Chad's friends eventually arrived on the beach with news that the emergency services were on the way.
What can you feel? What can't you feel?
Eventually, the Coast Guard helicopter arrived, who, after around half an hour, winched me off the beach.
Chad was urgently flown to King's College Hospital in London.
That's sort of when the pain started to set in more. I think at first they were worried that I might be internally bleeding. Every movement I could feel on the trolley was like a lot of pain, and it turns out I'd just broken a number of different parts of my spine, fractured my hip, had some nerve damage as well in the base of my back.
Chad had been extremely lucky to come away with his life, but had ended up breaking 4 vertebrae in his back and fracturing his pelvis.
They had 2 options. They could either put me into surgery or just leave me alone and not perform any surgery, keep me in a back brace and rest in for a few months, which is what they did, so I didn't have any metal work or anything like that in me. I was in the back brace for 3 months. I was also on crutches for just under 4 months.
Chad's dramatic accident was soon splashed across the papers, and with the footage uploaded online, it soon went viral. Chad has since had time to reflect on his day trip that went horribly wrong.
I ran off the cliff, jumped, and then through the pilot chute, which is the small parachute which opens the main parachute, so it just catches air and allows the parachute to open. But I threw that in the wrong direction, so I threw it down a bit, which caused it to hesitate. It took a little bit longer to open, and that meant that I was open like 2 foot above the ground, but too low to make it safe, and I smashed into the ground.
Incredibly, that close call hasn't put Chad off doing what he loves doing best.
4 months later, I was standing on another exit point with my friend, ready to jump, and yeah, off we went, straight back to it.
Yeah. See ya. Yay! Oh, thank God.
He's since made a full recovery, he's base jumping, and I still think he's great.